I don't even know how to start this. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be a very different video for me. This is going to be a long video because it started out as something much different. I feel like I just need to start from the beginning. As you can see by the title of this video, I recently, or actually I am right now, suffering an early miscarriage with my first pregnancy. And I say the word suffering because that's exactly what it is. It's suffering, it's pure torture. A couple days have gone by since I found out that I was gonna be miscarrying, so I've had time to really open up to others and educate myself a little more and just come to, I'm not even gonna say peace, but just I'm a lot more educated when it comes to what I'm going through and why it happened. And when I was going through all this within the past couple days, and I had opened up to some people and talked about what was happening, almost every woman that I spoke to said that they had been through the exact same thing. And the words that they were telling me since they had been through it was exactly what I needed to hear. You don't really know unless you've been through it. And I remember that night I was just talking to Matt about everything that was going on, and I literally told him, like, I don't know why I'm going through this, but I'm getting to the point where I feel like I needed to go through it. It's the weirdest feeling ever, but I know that there's a reason. And I finally got to that point, and I just told Matt, I can't wait to be the person to help someone going through this. And whether it be a family member of mine or a close friend in the future or a complete stranger, I can't wait to be the one to have the exact words to say. And so that kind of started, you know, with me thinking about how I already happen to have a YouTube channel. And then a little bit later that night, I told him, I asked him, would you feel comfortable with me, you know, kind of sharing my story and what I just went through, because I happen to document a lot of it kind of accidentally. You'll know what I'm talking about in a second. It wasn't meant to be, this video wasn't meant to be this, obviously, but I just asked him, I happen to have a lot of me documenting what's happening with me, and would you feel comfortable if I shared it? And he was like, yeah, do what you need to do, and maybe it'll be helpful for you. And I just told him, like, yeah, I feel like, you know, when I was going through this early miscarriage, you know, I don't turn to Google as much. The first thing I wanted to do was go to YouTube and see a real person that was going through it and a story similar to mine, and just some words of encouragement to, you know, I just wanted to see someone that came out from it and was on the other side happy and maybe with babies in the future. And I just wanted hope. So I really need to get it together if I'm gonna tell you this story, or it's gonna be a really long video. I think I'm done being emotional. I did want to make this video to help others, so I need to get a grip. So let's start from the beginning. I was thinking, like, man, my cycles are really long. That's not normal. So, like, I had been going through this health journey. I went gluten-free, which was amazing for me. Turns out I needed to be gluten-free the entire time, my whole life. I got off my birth control. I was on this detox train. Well, as soon as I got off my birth control, I wasn't trying to have children. I wasn't even married yet. My cycle just stopped. I mean, it didn't stop, but it seemed like it stopped because there was so much time between in my cycle. So fast forward, now I'm married, and I know that I'm going to be wanting to have children. And I just was thinking, you know, if I'm not having like a cycle, that means that I'm probably not ovulating. Like, let's do the math. Hey guys, so I don't know, but for some reason I'm just like not trusting those test strips. I keep getting negatives and I just feel like my body might be telling me something else. So I went out and got these clear blue digital ovulation tests. Keep you updated. Getting really tired and really frustrated. I knew that this was gonna be like a thing. Like I could just tell because of my cycles. And I almost just want to go ahead and call my doctor because that ain't right. I guess I'm just gonna keep testing until I get a negative. Actually, I think I only have like 2 test strips left. And I don't think I'm gonna buy more because this is crazy. So this past July, I went to my OB and I basically told her, you know, I know in the future I want children and I want it to be as simple as possible. I just want it to be to the point where I'm ready to go. And at this point, I'm not there because my cycle is so long. I told her that I ordered these natural supplements that are supposed to balance your cycle. And she said, okay, well, how about you keep taking those for about 6 months and let's see if they do anything. And I'm all for that. Like I'm very conservative when it comes to medical stuff, doctor stuff. I'd rather just do things the natural way anyways. So I was like, yeah, good idea. Like I'm not in any rush. So I took these supplements for about 6 months. Wait, no, I didn't actually. I went back after 5 months. So that November, and I think it's because I was due for my yearly anyways. So I made an appointment, it hadn't quite been 6 months. And I told her like, it's November, since I last talked to you in July, I've had 1 period and that's not good. So she referred me to a reproductive endocrinologist or an RE. Ultimately, people going to a reproductive endocrinologist is to have children because why else would you really want to fix your reproductive system? I knew that kids were on the horizon anyways. So I went to the RE like really shortly after, like the next week, I think. So it was still in November, and whenever I went to see them, they did like a full blood panel. Everything came back completely normal, go figure. And then he recommended that I get an HSG done. So an HSG is basically where they go in and they shoot dye into you and then they put an x-ray machine over you just to like make sure that you don't have any blockages and that everything is physiologically normal. That's kind of where my documentation of this journey started. And I was gonna do kind of like a PCOS vlog because they suspected that I had PCOS from just years of birth control use. And that's a whole nother video for a whole nother topic. If you're on birth control now and you want children in the next 5 years, get off the birth control. I'm not even gonna say in the next year or 2 because you just never know. I know I have post-birth control syndrome. Anyways, that's another topic for another time. I started documenting my little PCOS, like trying to get my cycle back journey. So I went to go see the specialist and it all went pretty well. I really like the office. Everyone's really nice there. And today I had my full blood work panel. The plan going forward is for me to get a hysteroscopy. I don't know. They like shoot some dye in there just to make sure I don't have any blockages or anything. I guess this is officially going to be like my PCOS vlog or my fixing my cycle vlog. I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna call it, but I just do know that I wanted to document it, but it'll be good. It's been a really hard day and I was ugly crying worse than I've ugly cried in a long time. Okay, I just realized I had like mascara running down my face. You're just gonna have to ignore that because I'm not getting up to clean it up. It's been rough, y'all. Like, it's been rough. They called me and told me that my blood work looked great, my LH was just high, but I needed to get on birth control. They called the Walgreens the same day. So that was on the 20th, and And then just this internal battle just started, because it was years of birth control that put me in the place that I am now. I spent the past year or two detoxing myself from being on birth control for so long. No, it wasn't in an attempt to have a child, but I knew it wasn't the best for me. As soon as I stopped taking the birth control, my body just doesn't know how to do anything on its own now. Obviously, I'm not ovulating, and I just told myself that I was gonna be the best version of myself. I was gonna detox, and I told myself I would never get back on any type of birth control just because of the things that I know now. So I started taking the birth control tonight. There's just a lot going on, but I am gonna keep y'all updated. I'm scheduling my HSG, which is where they shoot the dye in there and they do an ultrasound and they see what's going on. I know it's just my hormones, but some money for you, some money for you, some money. Like, I know the doctor's doing that as a precautionary, but I know it's my hormones, like, and I feel like this birth control is just gonna mess it up even more. I don't want to keep crying, so I'm gonna go see what my husband wants to do for dinner. I'm gonna get a grip, and yeah, I'll keep you updated. Make sure I have everything I need. I would be the type of person to show up without the insurance card or my ID. I am on my way to get my HSG test done right now. I think I have to get some blood work done before the HSG, which is super annoying because they wanted to do a blood work to verify that I'm not pregnant before I get this HSG test done. In the meantime, I'm like, I've been put on birth control to prevent this, birth control that I didn't even want to be on. I can promise you I'm not pregnant right now. Like, hopefully, if I don't get answers today, I'll be getting answers January 4th, and hopefully he'll put me on a path to getting a little more regular and balancing my hormones. So, the HSG test was painful. I'm not gonna lie. It hurt so bad. So bad. It got so bad that at one point I was super uncomfortable, and I was thinking, like, do I tell him that it hurts this bad? Like, do I tell him to stop? Like, all I wanted him to do was just stop. And I was just like I had my eyes clenched, and I was laying back on the table, and I was like, oh my God. Like, I just wanted it to be over so bad. I haven't done anything like that in a while, where like I just wanted it to be over so bad. And I actually got the verdict just now. So everything looks normal. He said that he only took a few pictures because everything looked completely normal. So that narrows down that, and that tells me that it's not my tubes that are blocking or preventing any cycle from happening, and it's probably just the hormone imbalance in my blood. And yeah, I will keep you guys updated. It was just a lot of ups and downs and the unknown. And so fast forward, after the HSG test, it was December 15th, and I went ahead and stopped the birth control. I had to be on birth control to get the HSG done. And on December 17th, I had my monthly. This is great. So I had my monthly. I was feeling really good, and I wasn't like tracking anything. I wasn't doing any like strips or anything. Like, I was just living my best life with my husband. I didn't think anything of it. I didn't know that I had ovulated at the time, by the way. I knew something was off, but I didn't really know. Like, I have these extremely long cycles, so I wasn't like, oh, I might be ovulating. It's about that time. Like, I never know. So we were out of town with some of our friends, and it was one of Matt's best friend's 30th birthday. And I remember that was the first time that weekend that I remember telling Matt, like, something's off, like really off. I can't stay awake for the life of me. Like, I was so exhausted. It didn't help that like we were in a house full of people, and the sleeping arrangement was kind of funny. You know, when you get a lot of people together, that happens sometimes. And I literally felt like I could shank someone for just sleep. And the whole way home from that weekend, I was just like really emotional and depressed and like, not depressed, but like emotional, sobbing. And I was just like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I guess I'm so tired. So then like time goes on and I really didn't have like anything that different. I noticed that my appetite was a little more there than it normally is. And actually looking back now, I'm like, girl, how did you not know? Because there was one night where I sat and ate a whole bag of hot Cheetos with peanut butter. So days go by and it is January 20th and I had family in town and I was extremely anxious the whole time and I just felt off. I had really, really bad cramping, but then I was like a little bit happy because I was like, wow, like this HSG must have like cleared things out or like really helped, because if I'm cramping right now, that means that I'm gonna get my monthly again. And like, are my cycles back? I had some like waves of nausea, and I know that I'm really sensitive to changes in my body anyways, and I knew that this was my very first cycle after the HSG, so I was like, okay, maybe my hormones are just like trying to get situated. So I was having like waves of nausea, and that was on Saturday, January 20th. And then mind you, at this point, I was 3 days late. If I was going to have a normal monthly, I was 3 days late at that point. But in my mind, I'm like, I have these super long cycles, like I'm not gonna take a pregnancy test, because if that were the case, I would have been pregnant this whole time, because I was going like 60, 70 days without a monthly. So I was just thinking like, no, like pregnancy test was just not on the top of my list. So then a couple more days go by, I'm having some symptoms, if you know what I mean. So then January 21st, I took a pregnancy test, and this is what happened. Good morning, y'all. It's really early. Ever since I got my HSG done, I think I had a regular cycle, and if that's the case, then I'm about 3 days late. Yeah, so I'm just gonna test. All right, here we go. The test is filling up. I'm gonna cover it up so I don't freak out, and set a timer for 3 minutes. So I've been keeping like a diary, like a PCOS, or you know, I have really irregular cycles, so I've been vlogging that. Like, I just feel like my cycle's regular after this HSG, which is weird because I didn't have any blockages or anything. We'll see what happens. All right, I'm looking. I think there's a faint line. What? I'm pretty sure there's a line. Is this right? Is this right? Is this right? Can it be wrong? What? This can't be wrong, can it? Oh my gosh. I don't know if this is right. I really hope I'm not seeing things. I definitely am not going to be able to see this on camera, but I don't know, I'll try. Can you see? Am I pregnant? I think that second line is there. I'm just scared that it's not. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I should wait to test another day, or if I should go ahead and call my doctor, because maybe like I am pregnant, but I don't have enough My Momo's here. Let's go ask her. She's gonna flip. Momo. Momo, good morning.
What time is it?
It's 6:30, but I've been up for like hours. I couldn't sleep.
Yeah, I went to sleep with me school more.
Huh?
I went to sleep with me. Oh, Wanda was supposed to come in this week.
So I think I know what you can help me with today.
Okay. The laundry for sure.
The laundry for sure. Do you think you can go to the doctor with me?
Today? You're going to the doctor today?
Do you think you can go with me if I make an appointment?
Of course.
Do you know which doctor I'm talking about?
I don't give a shit what doctor's talking about. Okay, it's one free asshole. You're pregnant? You took it? You took it? You took it? You're pregnant.
I got a very, very faint second one. Like very faint.
Okay.
So I don't really know. But it's there.
That's your blood test?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I don't want to get too excited,
No.
I mean, it's there. It's just, it's not dark, so.
It wouldn't be there. It would be just.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely.
Yeah.
It's definitely there. I just hope that keeps getting darker.
I think it is getting darker.
Hey guys, so I called my doctor's office. They were able to get me in today at like 10 a.m. and it's about 9:30 now, so I need to go. So I'm going to the doctor's. I'm gonna get a pregnancy blood panel drawn, and I'm supposed to get the results of my blood panel today, so I will update you.
Hi, so we got your levels back today. The HCG level, which is the pregnancy hormone, came back at 35.
So what does that mean?
It's just a hormone. We're going to keep watching it. It doubles every 24 to 48 hours. So we're going to bring you back in on Thursday just to do blood work again and just kind of see where it's at.
Oh, okay.
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 And then your progesterone was at 9. We like to see that above 20 or right at 20. So he's going to start you on a medication called endometrin.
Okay.
Okay.
So.
That's what we're going to see on Thursday.
Okay, so like, so I took my positive test this morning, but it was so very faint. So
yeah, because your level's at 35. Yeah, that's probably why.
Okay, so does that, like, should I share with my husband or should I wait or?
No, yeah, no, definitely.
Okay, I don't know what's normal. It's my first pregnancy, so I don't know.
Yeah, the level's there. Yeah, so we're just going to make sure that it keeps rising.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome. And what's a good time for Thursday?
Okay, so I'm definitely pregnant. I'm pregnant. Mama, come here.
We're pregnant. Are we pregnant? Oh, thank you. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Oh, I'm so happy for you, baby. My baby. You're gonna make it big. Come on.
Oh my God. So I do have to go back. It was the best day. of my life. I couldn't bring myself to just delete all the footage that I had been documenting and just lose it all and pretend like it never happened, because it was very real and it was my first pregnancy, and it's unfortunate the way that it happened, but it happened. So I told Matt after I got that confirmation from the nurse, and it was the best day of our lives. He didn't believe me. You could see in the video that he didn't really believe me.
Okay, so when you walk in the room, have the onesie here with the little stuffed animal in my chest. I always thought in my head that I wanted to do like the most elaborate thing for Matt, and now that it comes down to it, like I'm just ready for him to just know that he's gonna be a dad.
Oh my God, he's here. He's here. Look so good.
Really?
Yeah.
Shut that. Stop. Are you kidding me?
Why would I be kidding?
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I went to the doctor and everything.
When?
Today. I got a blood test done to confirm. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I know, are you shocked?
Yes.
As soon as that second leg popped up, I was dripping.
Oh my God.
It's definitely there.
Why?
Yeah. So then I had to go back for blood work again. So as you heard the nurse tell me, for my first blood draw, my HSG was 35 and my progesterone was 9. Hindsight, knowing what I know now, for how long it had been, it should have been a lot higher. And I know that all women are different, and the like range of levels for your HSG is just huge because women are so different, but it should have been a lot higher. So they just wanted to make sure that everything was progressing. So on January 23rd, which is 48 hours later, your HSG levels are supposed to double every 48 hours. So I went back for another blood draw. My HSG doubled and my progesterone doubled. And my new levels were 67 for my HSG and 17 for my progesterone. They did put me on some progesterone supplements just to make sure that it stayed higher, and because the progesterone prevents your body from shedding the uterine lining and just keep it all nice and secure. So that was January 23rd. I got the confirmation that my levels doubled, but whenever she called me, she did say, your levels are doubling, but for your cycle, seems like you're a couple weeks behind. And so I was still a little nervous, but I mean, you just never know. And like I said, this was my first pregnancy, obviously, and I didn't know. So unless the nurse was gonna tell me something otherwise, I kept asking them, like, should I be worried? Should I not tell my family? Should I not tell my husband? And they were like, no, don't be worried, because your cycle is off anyway. The hormone is definitely in your blood. You're pregnant right now. Like, you're definitely 100% pregnant. We're just gonna keep monitoring it and make sure that it's progressing. So they were doubling, and everything that I read was, it doesn't matter the level, it doesn't matter the number, as long as it doubles. So it kind of like restored my hope a little, and I just put any like skepticism I had like in the back of my mind, and I really just let it sink in. Okay guys, I got my blood work drawn for a second time, and my HCG levels have doubled. So I'm officially going to tell my mom
that I'm pregnant. I just have a onesie and then the pregnancy test. I'm gonna lay it like all nice and pretty, of course, when I get there. I don't know where to set my camera because I'm gonna be in my car and I want her to like come and open the passenger door. Okay, I'm about to pull in. Oh my God, here she comes, here she comes, here she comes, here she comes. Oh my God. Ah! 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 Oh my God! Oh my God! People are gonna think you're dying. Stop! Oh my God, I love you so much. Oh my God, babe, I'm so happy for you. Thank you. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah, look how little it is. Oh my gosh, this is the happiest day of my life. I told you I'd make your day better. You made my freaking year better. I'm at work. I'm about to give Whitney the onesies that I made. So I got us these best friend mugs from the Target dollar spot. We always get each other mugs. It's like our thing. They're really cute. And basically I just put the little newborn onesies in the mugs. And I can't wait to give it to her. The onesies just say best friends on them. They're so cute. Look.
What is this?
They're so freaking cute.
Oh my God. That is the cutest thing I've ever seen. Best friend mug. I know. We
But,
take
okay.
a picture with them one day. That is so cute.
There's something in them, but it's not really for us.
Are you pregnant? Shut up. No, you're not. Are you serious? When did you find out? No way.
I swear.
When did you find out?
Yesterday.
Shut up. You took a test?
Yeah, I went to HFI too.
Nuh-uh. How'd you go yesterday?
We didn't have work.
Oh,
They
yeah,
were
it was Sunday.
open.
I thought it was Sunday. No
were
way.
open.
Oh my God, Michelle. Oh my God, I have goosebumps right now. Shut up.
On the 25th, it was a Friday, I came home from work and I went to the restroom and I had a little bit of spotting. Immediately my mind's like, this isn't good. Like, you don't want to be spotting whenever you're pregnant. You know, Matt was like looking stuff up and he was telling me that it's actually common for some women to spot in their early pregnancy, that it could just be like irritation on your uterus, and it was like very, very light pink. So then I thought, like, is this implantation? But then looking back, it couldn't be because it had already implanted. I had already been pregnant. I've been getting my blood drawn. So that was a little worrisome for me, but still I thought like this could be normal. I could be okay. It's my first baby. Maybe that's why I'm spotting. Then on the 27th, so another 2 days later, so this was a Sunday, I went to my best friend's gender reveal. It was actually the first gender reveal I'd ever been to. And when the person having the gender reveal is someone that you care for deeply and love, it just makes it that more magical. It was the best. I like videoed the whole thing. I put that on my channel in case you want to see it. We even took like a little secret picture there together because at that point I was 4 weeks along. It was really starting to sink in at that point. It was so sweet because whenever we were there, she found out that she was having a boy and Matt was like asking her, like, what do you think we're gonna have? Oh, you're having a boy. I know we're gonna have a girl. Like, dang it, we're gonna have a girl. And Whitney was like, yeah, I think you're gonna have a girl too. It was just, I loved it. It was so sweet to see Matt so excited, and he's just so sweet. So when we got back from the gender reveal, I went to the restroom and I was spotting again, and this time it was a little bit more, so I was actually in the middle of filming a closet organization video, but I stopped that. I went and laid on the couch and put my feet up and just rested for the rest of the night. So the next morning I woke up, it was a Monday. They had me coming in for blood work again just to monitor my HSG level, but at that point in the back of my mind, I kind of knew.
I can't even describe it. They called me later that day and told me that my HSG level had stopped rising. And at this point, it had been 4 days since I got my blood drawn, so that means that the baby hadn't grown in 4 days. And I mean, I knew at that point nothing healthy would not grow for 4 days. So all my levels were exactly the same, and anywhere you look online, if your HSG levels aren't increasing, that is a sign of a miscarriage. At that point I knew, and it felt like a nightmare. It felt like a genuine nightmare. I was at work and, you know, life keeps going around you. And I just wanted life to stop for a second so I could just get a break and breathe. So I knew, and I came home from work, and my momo was staying with me, my grandmother, and she was in the kitchen. Matt was on the couch on his laptop doing work, and I walked in and I set my stuff down on the island, and she said, and she knew, like she could see in my face I'd been crying. I cried the whole way home, and she asked me, she was like, "What'd they say, baby?" And I just told her that the baby stopped growing and the levels stopped going up, and she was like, "Well, what does that mean?" And out of the corner of my eye I could see Matt looking at me and listening to what I was saying, and she said, "Well, what does that mean? Like, does it mean?" And I just said that it means that I'll miscarry. I'll just miscarry. And Matt's face, he just looked at me quickly. I'll never forget that. He just like looked at me, and the overwhelming look of worry and disappointment was just it was hard. So I came to my bathroom, threw away the positive pregnancy test. I didn't even want to look at it. And I went to bed, and I felt completely numb. I didn't want to communicate with anybody. So they wanted me to come back for another blood draw, and that was a couple days ago. That was January 30th. That was Wednesday, this past Wednesday. I went in, and they called me later, and she said, "Your HSG went up to 89. So it's now increasing, but there could be whatever reason for that. It's not a viable pregnancy. It's not a healthy pregnancy." And she was so kind about it. And she said, "You got pregnant, and there's no way to know why this happened, but please know that it's extremely common, and sometimes this happens to women and they don't even know it. They just think, oh, my period's late this month, or it's really heavy this month. That's odd," and then they just move on. And the only reason that I knew is because I tested, and I was getting like I was monitored by the RE that I had been seeing, like monitored closely, because I was having like the female stuff going on. And she said, "It's so common and it's gonna be okay." And so basically she told me to just stop taking the progesterone that was supporting the pregnancy, and that my body would just kind of do things naturally. And she said it will just, you're so early that it's just gonna be like your monthly, and you can start fresh. All day long I had severe hip pain. I don't know if that means that the baby was implanted like a little more on the right side. It was my right hip, or if it like came from that ovary, but my right hip, I was like dragging my foot around school all day long. So the doctor called me, and he was like, "Hey, how are you holding up? Like, how are you doing?" and he gave me a lot of peace of mind, a lot of comfort, and his call was like what I needed for some major closure. He basically said it would be odd for someone to go their whole life and not experience this. An egg that wasn't ever going to mature, and it happened to be released, and it happened to be fertilized. And some people that don't go through it, that just means that that egg was never released and never fertilized. It just happened, and it was nothing that I did. And I think that's something that I wish I would have known, that it was nothing that I did. You know, I think like, was it this? Was it this? Was it this? Could I have done this different? But in reality, the HSG level compared to the weeks that I was pregnant was just, it just wasn't right. And I do know that someday down the road in the future, I am going to be looking at my baby and thinking about this one. Please know that it doesn't matter if you carried your baby for 2 weeks, 6 weeks, 12 weeks, or 9 months. It was very real, and I will never forget this. And I just keep trying to think about the women that have been through this and have many healthy children. Please know that if you're going through this, I know you've probably heard this a million times, but you are not alone. You're not alone, and it could be a very isolating feeling when you go through this. But it's so common, and you're not alone. Whenever you look down at your baby in your next pregnancy, when I look down at my baby in my next pregnancy, I know I'm just gonna think, this baby was meant for me. What I'm going through right now is just gonna bring me that. It's gonna bring me that in the future. I just knew I had to make this video because I wanted to be that video that somebody needed to see. God puts you through things, and it really just makes you a freaking warrior. I don't know why I went through this, but I know I needed to for whatever reason. I don't know what's gonna happen in the future for certain, but I do know that I have a darn good husband and beautiful family supporting me and being there for me, and some of the most cream of the crop best friends in the whole world. I'm so blessed for that. Just know that after every storm, there is a beautiful rainbow. I can only go up from here, and time heals all wounds, but this wound will always be here. It'll always be with me, but I don't have to make it something sad. I don't have to make it something negative. I don't have to give into the worry and the anxiety and the wonder and the disappointment. I honestly can picture myself consoling someone in the future and giving them the best advice when they're going through the exact same thing. If you are currently going through an early miscarriage, or maybe you just found out that you're going to be going through an early miscarriage, or your pregnancy wasn't viable, please feel free to reach out to me whenever, wherever. I would love to just be one of those extra people in your life to support you and just keep you moving along. I want to be that for you. And the last thing I want to say before I end this video, if you have gone through an early miscarriage recently, maybe it hasn't even been recently, but you're still suffering and the wound still feels very fresh to you, I very much encourage you to talk to someone in your life. I thought that the world was ending. I thought that I was gonna crumble and I would never, ever recover from this. I thought I would never be the same, and I won't ever be the same. But whenever I opened up and started talking to people about it, you won't understand the amount of weight that just escaped me. And I really encourage you to just share your story and your journey, because it could help someone. And as you're helping someone, you will get closure. You will feel that weight start to lift. And whenever you realize that it's a lot more common than you think, and that other people have been through it, they're gonna know exactly what to say to get you through it. And I'm just so grateful for the people that I've talked to so far that are getting me through it right now as we speak. So I just encourage you to open up. It's so healing and it's so powerful. It's like this sacred thing with women, you know, having babies in general is so sacred to women. But whenever you go through something like this, we need each other. That's it. We need each other. So I encourage you to open up to whoever. You can open up to me if you would like. I would love to be there for you. And this isn't the end. This is not the end of your story. Please try to be optimistic and positive about the future. I know it's hard, but there's a greater plan for you. And there's a reason that you have to go through this so that you can help others as well, because they need you. All those women I opened up to, I needed them. Had they not gone through that, they wouldn't have been able to say what they said to get me through this. And you could be that person for somebody else. So that's gonna be it, guys. Actually, making this video is a good way for me to close this door and just focus on the future. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.